Alright, for the next part of the tutorial, we're going to show you how when you publish assets into RAM, you can relate other assets as well to the asset you've just published. And a good example of this would be inside of your development environment. When you're using Rational Asset Manager, you'll see that there's actually a file that gets created every time you download or import an asset or an asset artifact by reference into Rational Asset Manager. This file is called the RAM Builder Control.xml file. So you can see here in this project we actually downloaded the JSF extensions by reference. And so if we open up this file, you can see here it has the information about the unique identifier and the name of the file that we've downloaded. And so for each of the projects in my workspace, if I open up these RAM Builder Control.xml files, you'll see the unique identifier of the asset that was used within that project within the workspace. So you can see here we have a test Maven component for calendar, eligibility service, Ajax components. So rather than me having to manually identify all these unique identifiers for all the assets and artifacts that were used in this project, I can instead pass these files and the project over to the release engineers. The release engineers can then create what we call related assets that we want to relate to when we publish, for example, the jar file that we're publishing. So what we're going to want to do is we want to create and modify the relate artifacts link script. This relate artifact link script, what it will do is it will go and look in the RAM builder control.xml files that are in your workspace that you specify here, and it'll generate the relationships in the directory that we tell it to, and this will be the related assets list. So this will be the first step. We want to add these properties to the related artifacts link. After we do that, then we want to rerun the publish script again, and we want to make sure that we add the following properties, which are what is the workspace that we're working with, as well as where should the publish script look for the list of related assets. And in this case, notice how we're putting them and looking for them in the same directory as the publish results. And then we invoke the command ram client -v the file and publish asset. Okay? So that's what we're going to be doing but in this step. We're going to modify the related artifacts link, invoke the command for the related artifacts link, which is similar to this except we just put the related artifact links, and then we're going to modify the properties file, add these two properties here, and then we're going to create a dependency as part of publishing. Alright, so the RAM download artifact links file initially does not have these properties, so that's the first step you want to do. You want to add these properties, the URL to the web services, the user ID, password, the path to your workspace for your IDE or where your release engineering process is, and then where the directory will be that the relationships and the related assets that are found from these RAM builder controller.xml files, where those relationships will be put. So in this case we've specified C:builder directory. Let's go to the builder directory. Right now the only thing in there is the asset that we're publishing, which is the alpha4 jar file that we're going to be publishing in. So let's go ahead and run this script. Also keep in mind we're going to be creating an asset later on, but before we do that we want to create the relationships. So we're going to come over here into the DOS window, and then we're going to run the command. So there's the command here, int version v -lib -file, and it's not download asset. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to do download artifact links, and this is what we're going to try to do to get the relationships. This is going to go through and look at all of the RAM builder controller.xml files, and then over here on the right what we should see is the relationship publish results files will show up. So it's going through and looking through our workspace for all the different files that are references to assets in RAM. It's now put these results inside of the publish results. So now the next step we're going to do is we're going to go and modify our publish script to put dependencies on these assets. And so the first step we want to do is, recall, we want to add the information about where the workspace is, as well as where it can find the relationships for these assets. So this, we have it here. We're going to go ahead and copy that, and we're going to insert that up at the top here, right here. So this is going to look in the build directory, which is our workspace. It's going to look in the publish results file to look at the dependencies, and then it's going to go through and it's going to publish the asset. The asset we're publishing, recall, is the jar file, and we've provided that information already here. You notice this is the jar file that we're going to be publishing, and we're going to call it demo publish JSF component. And then the other thing, when we publish this, it's going to use all the assets in the publish results file, and it's going to add a dependency. And we can come down here and see this process relationship, add a dependency relationship, and this is going to go through all the relationships inside the result file, which has the relationships in it, and it'll add a relationship of dependency onto that. Okay, so we can go ahead and take a look to make sure that that asset doesn't exist yet, which is the one we're building, we're going to be creating. So the asset we're going to be creating, we said we were going to give it a name, which is demo publish, and then what it should have is a bunch of dependencies on the files from the builder XML. So let's just take a look, make sure that that asset is not in here. We'll search for it. So that asset is not there. We're going to go ahead now, since we ran the download related download artifact links. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run the publish again with those two additional parameters. Going to hit return, and you notice now it took a little bit longer because it's going through all those relationships and it's publishing the asset with those dependency relationships to all the assets that existed in the IDE. Alright, so now it's done. So now we can go back in and take a look. We're going to look for the same asset. It's probably going to take a little bit of time for the indexer to rerun. Okay, so the indexer has now rerun, and there is the demo publish script. So we can click on that so we can see it did get successfully published. And you notice it has the description that we put in there, and you notice here it had the release, which we did in the first time we published it. But now notice now there's a new relationship called dependency, and this has the list of all the components that and artifacts that were downloaded into the workspace based on the information that was put inside of these RAM builder control files. This file automatically gets populated each time I reference or import an asset into my workspace from RAM. So this is a great way for you to be able to very quickly create relationships and publish an asset with the relationships based on the information in a workspace. Alright, I hope this tutorial has been useful. Keep your requests coming. Thanks. Bye.